Honorable assistance, ladies and gentlemen, mesdames, mesdemoiselles et messieurs, quel plaisir de vous retrouver pour ce deuxième moment fort inscrit dans le programme et l'agenda fort chargé de ce 11e Congrès mondial de l'Amsep. Robert Char disait que le futur n'est pas un endroit où nous allons, mais un lieu que nous créons. Les chemins ne sont pas à trouver, mais à construire. Nous allons, si vous le permettez, construire step by step les différents éléments soulevés par les différents intervenants de ce matin lors de la séance officielle d'inauguration qui donne maintenant place à ce qu'on appelle communément la session introductive sous la thématique d'actualité et qui nous interpelle à plus d'un titre, comme je l'ai exprimé précédemment, les services publics d'emploi dans le contexte du développement durable et à l'ère du numérique. Honorable assistance, après lecture de ce qu'on peut appeler communément la note d'intention ou la note de cadrage du comité scientifique, j'ai relevé un certain nombre de points concernant un monde de travail qui change, une digitalisation tout azimut. Nous devons absolument anticiper l'éventualité d'un chômage non pas conjoncturel mais structurel pour en mesurer véritablement l'impact sur les inégalités. Bien sûr, vous n'êtes pas sans savoir que l'avenir, la prochaine décennie, verra la création de nouveaux métiers, donc inévitablement de nouveaux emplois. Les enjeux sont majeurs, ces enjeux majeurs que devront relever les États et les services publics d'emploi pour réussir cette mutation des qualifications en garantissant aux citoyens le maintien et l'amélioration des conditions de travail. Cela passerait par la mise en place d'un dispositif ressources humaines et formation, mais aussi l'objectif est de faire fluidifier le marché du travail. Pour ceci et pour cela, j'ai le plaisir d'accueillir sous vos applaudissements Monsieur le Président du Conseil d'administration de l'OIT Genève, Suisse, Monsieur Luc Kortebeck. J'appelle également à me rejoindre le chef de la division du développement économique et de l'emploi local OCDE, Monsieur Sylvain Giguère. Et le président de PES Network, M. Fons Leroy, qu'ils en soient remerciés de nous honorer de leur présence et de ce processus de partage d'expérience qui nous permettra sans nul doute d'aller de l'avant et de trouver les solutions appropriées. Messieurs, welcome on board, marhaban bikum ma'ana, bienvenue à bord. C'est un réel plaisir pour moi d'échanger avec vous. Alors, comment les choses vont se passer, mesdames, mesdemoiselles et messieurs? Chaque intervenant aura entre 15 à 20 minutes maximum pour présenter son point de vue, pour partager avec nous les expériences. Suite à cela, je me permettrai de donner la parole à l'audience ici présente pour des questions. On se limitera à maximum 5 questions pour des questions de timing. Il est prévu normalement de finir vers 13h, 13h15 pour bien sûr aller vers le déjeuner et reprendre les sessions parallèles. Voilà pour le programme et sans plus tarder, je donne la parole à Monsieur Luc Kortebeck, président du conseil d'administration de l'OIT Genève. Monsieur Luc Kortebeck, à vous la parole.
Je vous remercie. Dear President, representatives of ministers, ambassadors, mayor, dear representatives in all your functions and capacities, I'm very pleased to be here together with the very respected people and colleagues of the ILO. I thank and congratulate them for their excellent work here. And for me, it's an honor to be part of this landmark occasion in which the World Association of Public Employment Services commemorates 30 years of existence and of invaluable service to labor market participants, job seekers, and employers in particular. The ILO congratulates you for this important anniversary. Public employment services not only implement national employment and labor market policies, but also inform their development and their constant adaptation to local and economy-wide developments. The choice of the subject matter for discussion at this World Congress, focusing on public employment services in the context of sustainable development and digitalization, could not have been better. This Congress takes place at a time when the world economy has yet to recover adequately from the effects of the global recession that began in 2008. While the unemployment rate has stabilized at around 5.5%, mainly due to recovery in the advanced countries' labor markets, emerging and developing countries' labor markets are still facing unemployment problems compared to their labor force growth. Moreover, improvement in the quality of employment has stalled. In 2017, almost 1.4 billion workers, representing 42% of the labor force, were estimated to be in vulnerable forms of employment. And every year, an additional 17 million join them. Vulnerable workers, as you know, suffer from severe decent work deficits, poor working conditions, low incomes, no access to social protection, and so on. Furthermore, while working poverty continues to fall, its pace of decline has slowed down. Still 1 in 3 workers, 100 million, in developing countries live in extreme poverty, and 300 million in emerging and developing countries combined. Labor market inequalities with respect to women and the youth persist. The natural question that comes to everyone's mind is then the role of labor market actors such as public employment services. This would have been a straightforward question if the world of work was relatively stable. But on the contrary, the world of work is changing rapidly. It is in fact in a state of flux. Demographic changes, aging in developed and some emerging countries, and the youth bulge in developing countries, globalization and austerity policies, and advances in technology, digitalization, artificial intelligence, and machine learning, and so forth, are some of the main drivers behind the state of flux. This makes anticipating, let alone predicting, the future of work quite a challenge. The impact of such volatility in the world of work on employment and skills has been estimated by both alarmists and optimists. For example, the Oxford Martin School estimates that 47% of occupations in the US and 57% in the OECD will be automatable in a decade or two. The World Economic Forum, on the other hand, estimates a negative net impact of just 5.1 million jobs lost. The most affected jobs, occupation and professions are the routine, repetitive and predictable jobs, most of which are in the manufacturing sector. This also then raises a question regarding the ability of developing countries to catch up through industrialization and structural transformation as the advanced countries and the Asian tigers did in former times. What is important now is how policymakers and labor market institutions respond to optimize the positive impacts and minimize the losses, anticipating which professions will disappear and emerge, which middle-class jobs will be hollowed out, and understanding the job shifts and the nature of the new jobs will help policymakers and public employment services and other labor market institutions better prepare and design appropriate skills development and employability enhancement policies. In Europe, for example, studies show that as many as one in 10 adults do not have digital skills, with up to 18% having no access to internet in Europe. In developing countries, it's argued that while the youth are tech-savvy, they in reality do not possess technological skills needed to perform in the labor market. Not only will the number, type, and nature of job change, but also the forms of employment. Indeed, some would argue that the future of work is now, as already we can see changes in the forms of employment represented by the diversity of contracts in the labor market today. Permanent lifetime jobs exist alongside other forms of employment, what the ILO calls non-standard forms of employment. While not new in themselves, their pace of development and importance in the world of work has been dramatic. In the best cases, they can serve a need for agility and competitiveness for employers on the one hand, and family life balance for workers on the other. The most important thing, therefore, is how to adapt labor administration systems, employment services, labor inspections and law enforcement, social protection, and working conditions that were designed for a full-time employer-employee relationship to these diverse new employment contracts. The advent of the sharing or gig economy, itself a product of technological advancement and hence evolving rapidly, is yet another challenge. According to some estimates, the international sharing economy was worth around $15 billion US, 15 billion in 2014, and is on track to reach $335 billion US by 2025. While the sharing economy actors, for example, take over the business of public employment services or private employment agencies for that matter, or can public employment services leverage the use of technology and the new institutions to deliver services better? This discussion makes it clear that the final outcomes of the evolving world of work and technological advancement will be defined by policy choices. How to optimize the net benefits should be our preoccupation to create the future we want, a future with decent work and social justice. Implementation of a well-coordinated, mutually reinforcing and comprehensive employment policy framework covering macroeconomic policies that drive employment-rich structural transformation and sectoral policies, and that are supported by targeted and balanced labor market policies is imperative. The ILO's Employment Policy Convention, Convention 122, provides that member states should design employment and economic policies that ensure full and freely chosen productive employment for all those who are available and willing to work. The Employment Service Convention, Convention 88, and the Private Employment Agencies Convention 181 assign the labor market organization role to achieve full employment to public employment services and recognize the role of private employment agencies in a well-functioning labor market and promote cooperation between them. In other words, even in the current turbulence in the labor market, as the one observed, the goal of full employment is feasible, as also Social Development Goal 8, decent work, of the United Nations Agenda 2030 clearly underscores. So the goal of full employment is feasible, and both public and private employment services have a central role to play. In line with the theme of this conference, I would like to say a few words about the impact of digitalization on public employment services. It is argued in some literature that three main trends affect the operation of public employment services, especially in the developed countries. First, the pressure on budgets and hence the need for achieving both effectiveness and efficiency. Secondly, the ever-increasing demands and expectations of job seekers. And thirdly, the evolution of internet-based collection and analysis mechanism, or big data. Given the fact that robots may take over a rather significant amount of jobs, public employment services tends to be dealing with more job seekers, with more sophisticated barriers to the labor market on the one hand, and on the other hand, few jobs. But on the brighter side, developments in artificial intelligence and machine learning can help public services to set up new and better systems to serve these clients and potentially reduce operational costs. Their survival and relevance will depend on how they anticipate and adapt to constant and rapid changes in the labor market and take advantage of the advances in technology, such as big data and data-driven analytics and tools to stay ahead of the game. To their credit, many public employment services are not only aware of this, but are already taking measures to adopt technology in their offer of services through multi-channeling of service delivery. The Belgian VDAB, for example, has leveraged the advancement in information technology to offer client-oriented services through its multi-stakeholder and consultative innovation labs. The VDAB is a well-known organization for me, together with the Flemish government and me as one of the social partners. We created this institution in 1989. But I congratulate them, I congratulate VDAB, but also Forum, Actiris, and ADG for the four Belgian institutions in our small country, but for the fact that they built out a very strong cooperation, and I want to congratulate them therefore. In France, Pôle emploi has taken a bold step to overhaul its service delivery system based on technology. In emerging and developing countries, technology could provide an important viable way to expand public employment services geographically and to various labor market groups. India's National Career Service, adopted in 2015 as the main building block, the online matching system. The National Jobs Portal is a unifying channel for all key stakeholders in the labor market. public and private employment services, training institutions, job seekers, employers, and even self-employed artisans. I'm sure you all could add other good examples from your institutions and experiences. Lastly, a word of partnerships. Technology is expanding fast, and neither public employment services nor any other labor market actor has a monopoly over it. It therefore pays for public employment services to explore beneficial partnerships with private employment agencies and online social companies, such as LinkedIn, Facebook, and JobFight, to expand the outreach of job vacancies and also to harvest information on the labor market. This is incredibly important, given that many governments, both in advanced and emerging countries, are starting to see the use of big data in their decision-making. In 2017, LinkedIn had over 500 million members, 9 million employers, and over 9 million job openings. In 2018, in the US alone, 146 million workers have LinkedIn profiles, while 20,000 companies and over 3 million jobs are posted. Furthermore, LinkedIn produces labor market reports based on big data analytics and has entered into partnerships with many governments in advanced and emerging economies and countries. We could go on and on. The bottom line is that policy choice is critical and will determine how public employment services can prepare themselves and manage to make the most of technological advancement and the rapidly changing world of work. The ILO governing body, which I have the privilege to chair, takes a very keen interest in these matters. Through the ILO Global Commission on the Future of Work, a conversation on these issues has been launched, involving extensive discussions at all levels and by all major key stakeholders. The Global Commission will be producing a report at the end of the year that will provide guidance to the International Labour Conference of June 2019 on the future of work. 2019 is the year of the centenary of the ILO. The ILO was created in 1919 as part of the Treaty of Versailles that ended World War I, to reflect the belief that universal and lasting peace can be accomplished only if it's based on social justice. The world of work changed, changes, and will change, not the values formulated in 1919. I hope that the work of the ILO will also be useful to WAPES and to all the institutions and organizations represented at this Congress here these days. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président du Conseil de l'administration de l'EIT, qui nous a expliqué constats, exemples et chiffres à l'appui dans une situation de récession mondiale, cette situation spécifique où il faudra se préparer, anticiper et utiliser tous ces outils technologiques que sont l'intelligence artificielle, le big data, mais également tout ce qui est réseaux sociaux. Monsieur le Président du Conseil d'administration de l'OIT s'est posé la question: quelles professions vont émerger, quels métiers vont disparaître? Pour cela et pour ceci, les SPE doivent s'y préparer et véritablement s'adapter en anticipant. Et il finit d'une note très très optimiste et positive: le monde du travail change, le monde du travail va changer, mais pas les valeurs. Merci le Président. Merci beaucoup de votre intervention. Mesdames, Mesdemoiselles et Messieurs, j'appelle pour la deuxième intervention de cette session introductive du 11e Congrès mondial de l'Amsep, M. Sylvain Giguère, chef de la division du développement économique et de l'emploi local au CDE. Merci.
You have.
Merci beaucoup, merci beaucoup, Monsieur le maître de cérémonie. J'aimerais également remercier chaleureusement l'Amsep et le Royaume du Maroc pour ce grand privilège qui est accordé aujourd'hui à l'OCDE. It's fantastic to be in Marrakesh today. I mean, I found myself lucky on Monday because the spring had finally arrived in Paris. But here we are in the middle of the summer, so I suppose that I will come back to Paris with a bit of disappointment tomorrow. So the labor market is going through a number of transformation, and Luc Korteberg just explained to us many of them. So what I would like, and it's important to mention that these transformations have an impact on people, on companies, but also on the policies that we implement and on the role of employment services as well. So I will take you through some of these challenges and share with you some of the lessons that the OECD is drawing in terms of how to address them. And I hope my presentation will make clear to you that even though all your employment services can be accessible on this smartphone, and this is just a BlackBerry, there's a growing need for more active and more proactive employment services on the ground today in the new world of work. So I think we all agree that So the use of technology in the workplace is increasing dramatically. We can look at this from various angles. This is, or maybe it's you see it on the both sides. This is the amount of ICT capital services per hour worked. So basically, it looks at how much money companies are spending on software and hardware for each working hour in the company. And this amount has doubled or tripled or quintupled depending on the country you're looking at over the past 15 years or so. We can also look at the number of robots. And on the left-hand side, you see every year the additional number of robots that companies are putting in the workplace. And this amount has been tripling over the past, let's say, 10 years, and we are expecting it to grow further. The cost of robots is also going down very rapidly. So 5 years ago in China, it took 5 years to pay back in terms of salary the cost of replacing a worker by a robot. Last year, this was 1.5 years of salary, and by 2020, it will be less than a year of salary. And this explains why the number of robots per each worker is probably doubling or tripling, as you can see on the right-hand side graph. At the same time, the gig economy or the platform economy is creating many new jobs, and this is having an impact also on the average working conditions of workers, as you know, because sometimes these jobs are a bit precarious. So the technological revolution is having a big impact. It is really a technological revolution, as we've heard this morning. Will it have an impact on jobs? Of course it will. So Luc mentioned some of the figures. You probably have heard about also the estimates of 50% of jobs to be destroyed over the next 15 to 20 years by Frey and Osborne. So at the OECD, we are a bit more conservative on these aspects, and we estimate that perhaps 15% of all jobs will be suppressed over the next 15 to 20 years. However, a lot more jobs will change massively, because it's not jobs that you automate most of the time, it is some of the tasks. And so it is the job composition that will change. So if you will, it's the job description that you have in professions and career that you have in your countries. However, the impact of automation may be different across the regions in your country. So you may be a country where the risk of automation will be fairly low because the economy is quite productive, but there may be regions in your country where the risk will be higher because the main sectors there represented in these regions are less productive. So you have here a range of the difference of what may be expected in some OECD countries. So the main impact, for us, the main impact from the technological revolution is the job polarization. So the job polarization. Job polarization is not new, but it has been expanding over the last couple of years. So what you see is a reduction in the demand for middle-skilled workers who are more at risk of automation. At the same time, you have a fairly steep increase in the demand for high-skilled workers, and you have also in many countries an increasing demand for low-skilled workers or proximity jobs or people working in services mainly. So for us, this is the main impact we have to deal with, and it brings three key challenges. First, how do we supply the skills in the new world of work? Second, how do we balance the labor market by shifting from one category of skills to the other one? And thirdly, are we making the right use of skills in order to increase productivity and salaries and working conditions? So first, the type of skills or the supply of skills. So our education and skill system is struggling in most of our countries to supply the skills that the economy needs. Today, labor market want workers with a good mix of cognitive skills, so knowing to do things in the area of work, soft skills, communication, and so on, to be complemented by IT skills. And yet this is not happening. The study of adult skills that we have done at the OECD shows that on average, 60% of the working age population has poor IT skills, or more precisely, problem-solving skills in technology-rich environments, 60%. 23% of the working age population, on average, in OECD countries, has poor numeracy skills, and 20% has poor literacy skills. So by failing to supply the skills that the labor market wants today, we are holding back economic growth and job creation and creation of good quality jobs also. So this is something that we need to address. So how do we address it? And maybe I should just mention before that it is a reason why firms are complaining, of course. Employers often complain about the fact that we are not supplying the right job, sometimes for good reasons, sometimes for not good reasons. But the reality is that today, 35% across the OECD report difficulties in filling jobs. So what can we do about it? Well, first of all, we need to make our education and skill system more responsive. Obviously, there's little we can do here. It's mainly the education system. However, there's a lot we can do from the employment service perspective when we think of it also with training. There's a lot we can do on training for the young people, training for the unemployed, training in firms. It's important to be able to not to take a one-size-fits-all approach and to provide adapted solutions to the reality that we find at the local level and to identify what the skills gaps are. It's very important to have flexibility in the management of employment programs and skills program so that we can provide those innovative responses. And to do this, strong partnerships with the economic development stakeholders is key, notably in putting together the labor market intelligence that we produce with the economic intelligence that economic stakeholders produce. When you put the two together, it's often easier to see what are the skills gaps that the local sectors and the emerging sectors are facing in our economies. So, and then it's important to be able to influence the skill system in this way. So it's not ideal, but there's a lot of things we can do. In terms of having a flexible management of employment programs across the OECD, we see a lot of differences, and this is very much a very important condition. So here we try to measure the degree of flexibility in the management of employment programs at the local level, sub-regional level. and we take into account how budgets are managed, programs are, the mix of programs is decided, if eligibility criteria can be modified, for example, at the local level. And we see that in large countries, federations like Germany, or small countries like Denmark, you have a lot of that flexibility, which allows to coordinate labor market programs with economic development, for example, at the local level. But also you have small countries like Greece, like the Slovak Republic, or federations also like Australia, where you have less flexibility because the model is different. In Australia, they prefer to manage a contract with the private service providers, managed from the central level. So it has some advantages, but also some disadvantages. I'll stop on this in terms of this element, but I think it's very important. So the second challenge, I talked to you about the polarization with the decrease in the demand for middle-skilled workers, while you have an increase in high-skilled workers and an increase in low-skilled workers. So we need to balance the labor market by helping the middle-skilled workers to acquire the skills that they would need in order to get better quality jobs. But we are failing to do that. And the danger is that if the middle-skilled workers cannot access those better jobs, they will compete with the low-skilled workers for the low-paid jobs. So not only they're getting a lower salary, but they're contributing to dampen further overall salaries because they are crowding out the market for low-paid jobs. And this is probably why today we are not seeing so much inflation in our economies. So what can we do about this? Well, fortunately or unfortunately, we can draw on the experience that we've built over the years in how to upgrade the skills of the low-skilled workers, because this has been a priority since the year 2000. And we need to continue to upgrade the skills of the low-skilled workers. These are those who benefit the least from vocational training. But we can really use what we've identified in terms of what works well and what doesn't work well to provide lessons for helping the middle-skilled workers to acquire more skills. First of all, we need to make sure that the training is flexible in terms of modular training, part-time, and so on, as well as now using e-learning methods. We also need to engage employers and employees and helping them to identify what they can gain from additional training. And this is very important. If they know what is to gain, they will contribute, they will more easily make a decision to invest with their own time and with their own money. And so many countries have tried with tests which can be used for employers and employees to assess what is it that they can gain from additional training. We can use intermediaries for doing that between training providers and employers, and this can be a role of employment services, for example. And we need also to, of course, pool SME needs and work more specifically with the SMEs which have less capacities to undertake training. And now I'll come to my last challenge, which is the most difficult one. So even if we were able to supply the right skills that the economy needs, even if we were able to balance the labor market and upgrade the skills of the middle-skilled workers, we probably will not be able to increase living standards significantly. If we want to increase living standards, we need to increase salaries. If we want to increase salaries, we need to increase productivity. One of the best ways to increase productivity is to make full use of the talent that is available in the companies. And this is not happening. From our OECD study on adult skills, we see that a significant share of the skills of people is not properly used in the workplace, whether it is developing countries or developed countries. And this is one of the reasons also why we have so much overqualification in countries like Morocco, for example. So it's really a situation which addresses all countries. Countries which want to escape the middle skills trap need to focus on how skills are used in companies. And the relationship between skills utilization and productivity is clear. Here we're looking at the use of reading skills, not how we read or if we have learned to read in schools. If we apply reading in the workplace, has a relationship with productivity. So it's important not only to invest in the supply of skills, which is essential, we also need to make sure that the skills is used by the companies. So not only investing on the supply, which is the horizontal axis, but also making sure they are used and demanded by companies. And in this way, you can reach a high-skill equilibrium where you create a great proportion of good quality jobs. So how do we do that? Very quickly. And this is a role that employment services can play. It's important to be able to spot the high turnover companies, because a high turnover may be a signal that something is going wrong in the company. So instead of repeatedly filling this gap in the same company, it may be better and more efficient in terms of using public monies to work with other stakeholders and to try to identify what is the problem in this company. In many countries in Europe or in America, unemployment is going down. It's not a question of, filling more people. It's a question of better using the talent that we have. So we can develop human resource development services, workforce planning services. We can share the files on firms with other providers so that we don't work in silos. And this is a good opportunity for partnership between private employment services and public employment services. We can work likewise with economic development agencies and chambers of commerce and work with consultants for the more complex case. And at the same time, building partnerships, bringing together, of course, the economic stakeholders, but also going to see the universities and the training institutions so that they can do more in terms of helping the small firms sometimes, doing applied research, being more involved with local SMEs. And so I'd like to leave you with this. I hope I've been able to convince you that today employment services they should also play a more meaningful role, a more active role. They can play a role of leader in more flexible employment services where you have this freedom to coordinate with economic development, with skills development. It will be easier to partner with skills partners to, in practice, deliver results on lifelong learning, so upgrading the skills of the low qualified workers and the middle skilled workers, and likewise to partner with economic development stakeholders and engage employers in making a better use of talent, which will increase productivity, raise salaries, and living conditions. Thank you very much for your attention.
Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Sylvain Giguère, chef de la division du développement économique et de l'emploi local à l'OCDE. Monsieur Giguère nous a donné sa vision du marché de travail à travers le parti pris stratégique de l'OCDE. Cette transformation avec les impacts sur les gens, les compagnies et les politiques, ce changement certes avec cette utilisation de la technologie qui ne cesse d'augmenter et probablement, certainement, sûrement, le robot qui va remplacer l'être humain au fur et à mesure. Ceci a un impact non négligeable sur les conditions de travail des employés, probablement des changements de métier, mais M. Sylvain Giguère a porté sa réflexion sur ce qu'on appelle communément la polarisation des emplois qui, elle, s'étend de plus en plus. Bien sûr, M. Giguère nous a donné 3 défis majeurs à relever en donnant, bien sûr, des pistes de réflexion et des ébauches de solutions. Merci, M. Giguère, d'avoir participé et partagé votre expérience en tant que chef de la division du développement économique et de l'emploi local. Honorable assistance, nous arrivons à la 3e intervention et celle où nous aurons le plaisir d'accueillir le président PES Network, M. Phonse Leroy. Sous vos applaudissements, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. Dear colleagues, dear friends, dear partners of WAPES, let me first of all thank the former president and the former managing board for the enormous work done the last 3 years. Let me also, on behalf of the PES Network, congratulate Noureddin with his appointment as the new chair of the WAPES Network. But last and not least, let me also thank our former and new Vice President Europe, because she is always building bridges between both networks. Merci beaucoup, Annie. Mais but let me go back to the theme of this Congress. What will be the role of public employment services in the digital era and in this VUCA world? And I hope by now that if you read the long-term strategy, that you're now all familiar with the acronym VUCA, which stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And these are four main characteristics of our society of today, but also of our economies and our labor markets. And of course, we know that the main drivers of this VUCA context are the new technologies based on robotization, digitalization, big data, Internet of Things, and so on, but also linked with new economic models, such as the platform economy and the sharing economy. But even important as those new technological evolutions are the evolutions in society, in broader society, which are really important for the WAVES network, such as the globalization, the demographic shifts, the diversity in our world, the climate change. And if we take all these evolutions in account, we are really moving towards a transitional labor market. Almost 30 years after the first study of the German labor market expert, Gunther Schmitz, about the transitional labor market. Now we are really moving towards this transitional labor market. And of course, this transitional labor market has an enormous impact on the role of public employment services. I will be short but sharp about the role of public employment services. First of all, if all people at work will face more and more transitions within their company, within their job, from one job to another job, from one company to another company, from one statute to another statute, from one economic sector to another economic sector, then it should be clear that public employment services can not only address their services any longer only to job seekers, because all people active on the labor market are potential job seekers, are people facing transitions. So we should move from public employment services to public career development agencies. Or, to use the words of the recent book published by WCC, it's about managing the workforce. It's not any longer about only managing the population of job seekers. We should manage the workforce, because the whole workforce is confronted with those VUCA evolutions. That's my first point. My second point is that in a transitional labor market, competences, skills are the key elements in a career development approach. So we, as public employment service, we should be the experts on competences and skills and develop well-built competence-based matching system and even pre-matching system to guide people throughout their transitions. So my second point is we should invest in competence-based policies. My third point is that if we know, and it was said by previous speakers, that we will now new jobs in the future, some jobs will disappear. We will, in every profession, we will work with robots or forms of automatization, and we should opt for cobotization. Then, in my view, it's not so much about levels of skills or acquiring the necessary technical skills. It's foremost in investing in the 21st century skills. The soft skills that people need to cope with all those transitions in the world of tomorrow. And that needs a huge investment in promoting but also investing in training so that every people active on the labor market has the 21st century skills in his backpack. Because these skills guarantee that people will find their way in a changing world. And if we are focused on the 21st century skills, then I have to say this has also consequences on the competences of public employment services or the competences of public career guidance services. Because you cannot longer separate guidance from training and learning. Because when you will you have to support people in transition, it's a combination of career guidance and investing in development of skills. So public employment services should have both competences. Competences of guidance, but also competences of training and learning. And that's three important points, in my view, related to our new mission and the new challenges. But we should also adapt our business model. And you can read it. I have always the ambition to become the Amazon or the Netflix of the labor market. And that before Amazon or Google will become the prominent employment service of the labor market. Because there is a huge danger that private companies will take over labor market policies. But we are assuring, as was approved yesterday in the General Assembly, also our values. We want that everyone has a place on the labor market. We start from the point of view that everyone has a talent for the labor market. So if we want to tackle Google, Amazon, and other companies who wants to take over labor market policies, we should adapt our own business model. And we should have an approach based on a digital-first principle, not a digital-only principle. It's not about creating a new digital divide within our customers. It's about a digital-first approach so that we can reach all the people more effectively, more proactively when they are confronted with transitions. And it's also important to implement the principles of co-design and co-creation. It's one thing we, as VDAB, learned with the implementation of the Youth Guarantee is, well, let's create the services, the measures with your customers. They are more effective, they are more appropriate, they are more attractive than if we create services on our own. So we should invest in co-design and co-creation and adapt our business model that way. What I say is not a dream. It's happening today. I will not go, I prefer to have some time for discussion and for questions. I will not go in the depth of the examples I will show. We can disseminate them through the WAPE's website. But for example, in Denmark, they have a really well-working statistical profiling system, combining administrative data with data, personal data of job seekers to define the best way for integration for every job seeker. We in VDAB, we will launch in September our Netflix so that every job seeker has his own proper page, not only with the job offers linked to his profile, his diploma or experience, but also job offers linked with his competences, even competences acquired outside the professional context, but also successful offers which were used by peer profiles, so that every job seeker has a big view on the possibilities offered by the labor market. Estonia has a really performant interactive system where more than 200 data banks are connected with each other, so that before the client comes to you, you have already all the necessary data on your client through the collaboration of many ministries and agencies. We can also refer to La Bonne Boîte, Pôle emploi, where job seekers can find employers even before there are vacancies on the market, because they know that the profile of that employer will suit to the job seeker. So it's about using new technologies, for example, also blockchain technology, to make sure that we can use the new technologies to offer more tailor-made, more proactive, and more appropriate services. I'm really convinced that we, and not Amazon and not Google, we have the expertise to provide, to create these services in co-design with our customers. So if I was at the start referring to this acronym of VUCA, well, we should also produce a VUCA answers, but based on a strong vision, understanding, cooperation, and agility. If we as public employment services can show that vision, can connect with our customers, can cooperate with numerous partners, and can organize ourselves as agile organizations, we can make sure that our clients will find a sustainable career in this transitional labor market. But also, through the use of new technologies, we can improve our services, make our services more tailor-made, but also create a more inclusive and a more sustainable labor market. And I was very happy yesterday when the long-term strategy of WAPES was approved, because in my view, the long-term strategy of WAPES is a strong base to face, but also to shape the future of work if we are willing to innovate our services, if we are willing to share our experience, if we are willing to use the experience of the network so that our customers, wherever they live, can have a sustainable career. So many challenges for PES, but I think we have the ambition, we have the power, and it's not a question, Sylvain, if we can or should play this role, we will play this role on this new matter of organizing the labor market, and that in the profit of our customers, job seekers, people who are active at work, but also companies. Thank you for your attention.
Bravo. Bravo. Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président PES Network, Fonce Leroy, de cette brillante intervention. Le président de PES Network a décollé en VUCA et a atterri en VUCA pour nous expliciter ce processus de volatilité, d'incertitude, de complicité et d'incertitude nous permet automatiquement d'arriver à un processus de vision, de compréhension, de clarté et d'agilité. Le processus d'intervention de M. Fonce Leroy nous a véritablement mis dans un cas de figure où la robotisation, certes, et le digital ont leur importance, mais le nouveau modèle économique, la mondialisation, les changements climatiques font que ce monde de travail est un monde de travail en transition, avec un impact véritable parce que nous sommes amenés à 3 éléments de travail: le développement des carrières, l'expertise dans les compétences et leur développement, en investissant dans une politique basée sur les compétences. Si on doit travailler avec les robots, alors prenons en considération et concentrons-nous sur les compétences du XXIe siècle. Un investissement énorme donc pour promouvoir et former. Les SEP doivent avoir ce rôle d'orientateur et de formateur et donc s'adapter à ce nouveau business model en confectionnant et en faisant de la co-création et bien sûr en gérant ces nouveaux modèles et ces talents utiles, indispensables et nécessaires, avec des exemples bien sûr du Danemark et de l'Estonie.
Mesdames, Mesdemoiselles et Messieurs, nous remercions le panel de l'introduction qui a été véritablement de haut niveau en nous explicitant véritablement cette thématique et son importance. Bien sûr, cet après-midi, beaucoup de choses vont être dites, mais avant d'arriver à cet après-midi, je me fais le plaisir d'aller dans le sens voulu et de vouloir faire participer cette audience ô combien sérieuse, ô combien crédible et qui nous permet aujourd'hui Mesdames, Mesdemoiselles et Messieurs, à vous la parole. 1, 2, 3, j'ai 5 questions. Moi, je dis toujours, la première question est la plus difficile. On passe directement à la deuxième question. Mais Madame a déjà manifesté le vœu et vous serez la première à parler, Madame, dans quelques instants, parce que la reconnaissance, le micro, vous l'aurez sans aucun souci. 2 questions, 3 questions, 4 questions, 5. On ne sortira pas d'ici, on ne déjeunera pas s'il n'y a pas 5 questions. Voilà. C'est la promesse de ma mère ce matin quand je lui ai dit je suis à Marrakech pour un congrès. Et vous m'avez jamais applaudi, c'est bien méchant à vous. Moi qui fais un travail incroyable et impensable, un peu plus, please. D'accord, voilà, ça met un peu de convivialité, de cordialité dans ces gens de l'emploi et qui font tout pour que nous puissions travailler. 1 question, 2 questions, le président d'honneur, encore 3. Sinon, pas de déjeuner, rien. Voilà, c'est une décision du comité d'organisation, ce n'est pas moi. Madame? Non, Madame ne veut pas parler, ce n'est pas un problème. Alors on va commencer pour laisser mesdemoiselles les hôtesses d'accueil. Auriez-vous la gentillesse, sinon je ferai ce travail avec grand plaisir, si Monsieur Fonce-Leroy me donne le micro avec son aimable permission. Waouh, vous êtes déjà fatigués les jeunes, hein. Heureusement que nous, les moins jeunes, on est Madame, à vous la parole. Vous dites votre nom, votre prénom, et surtout votre numéro de compte bancaire. S'il vous plaît.
So, I'm not going to be paid. My name is Susanne Kratz. I'm seconded national expert from the Public Employment Service Germany, working for the European institutions. Thank you. And I'm glad that my question brings you closer to the lunch. So I thank you for the very rich and inspiring contributions that were quite well complementing each other. I have 2 comments, not real questions. The first one regards Sylvain. You made very good points as regards the risk of following out the middle. But having done some projects for the Commission and reading other work and looking at the situation in Germany and some other countries, I must openly say I would warn to no longer qualify young people and unemployed in the sphere of middle qualifications. Because what we see that in many crafts there can be shortages. Germany is particularly suffering from that, but also when I did some years ago European analysis with a team of researchers, we also found that the situation is very varied within this middle segment. So I would call upon the OECD and the ILO to do more research so that we can come to a clearer picture, because it would be a pity to send in, and that is the bridge to my second point, to send young people in school during vocational orientation only to the high segment or maybe to the low segment, for though as this might be less risky to fall into unemployment. And my second point that leads to the VUCA concept and transitional labor markets and a new concept for public employment services as a public career guidance services, or strengthening at least the service, because there are other players in the countries too. And that is my other background. I was a member of the European Lifelong Guidance Network, where we discussed very much how to better prepare young people for transitional labor markets, starting in schools, whoever provides career guidance services. And that led to a conclusion, having been confirmed by a council resolution in 2008, that young people need a special set of skills called career management skills. And that does not only have to do with more rapid technological change, but also with the increasing flexibilization of the labor market, because what we see are increasing shares of temporary employment, especially for young people in all countries. In some, at the entry, there are more than 70% on a temporary contract. So they need career management skills, better knowing on this personal project how to prepare themselves, but also being able to work with new technologies doing this, and to get better awareness to be prepared when employed, that they have to look for further training on the job to be prepared for this labor market. So that was a bit long. Thank you for attention.
Merci, merci madame. Merci madame. Nous allons passer à la deuxième question qui est programmée. Il y avait une deuxième question. Monsieur, mademoiselle, aurez-vous la gentillesse? Voilà. Et monsieur, donc on en a trois. Monsieur le Président d'honneur,
merci. Merci beaucoup. Ma question, en fait, c'est une demande de précision à l'intention de monsieur Leroy. Peut-être que j'ai mal entendu que ce nouveau système change-t-il le rôle et la mission des services d'emploi public? Je voudrais être sûr que vous parlez de mission et de rôle, ou alors des méthodes qui vont changer, de la manière de travailler, de l'adaptation nécessaire sur tous ces changements du marché qui sont là, parce que le rôle d'un SPE, notre rôle, notre mission, elle est éternelle. C'est la mission de rendre plus transparent le marché de l'emploi, c'est rendre transparent le marché de l'emploi et de placer les chômeurs. Quand nous formons, la formation, c'est un outil qui sert à rendre le chômeur plus apte à avoir des compétences pour pouvoir occuper un poste de travail, donc pour être placé. Même quand on encourage la création d'un projet, comme c'est le cas pour certains services publics d'emploi, c'est pour que la personne soit placée lui-même dans son propre emploi. Est-ce que je voudrais vraiment que vous me précisiez si tous ces changements peuvent changer le rôle et la mission des services d'emploi public? Merci.
Merci.
J'ai oublié.
Merci.
J'ai oublié au départ
Pardon?
J'ai oublié au départ de dire toute mon admiration et mes félicitations pour les trois intervenants. C'était extrêmement enrichissant. Je n'ai pas arrêté de prendre des notes. Merci beaucoup pour vos interventions, vos brillantes interventions.
Merci pour votre intervention, Monsieur le Président d'honneur. Monsieur, s'il vous plaît.
Hello, good morning. Charlie Terrell of the United States. In the United States, we have seen a 20-year decline in funding of our employment service by the Congress. As a result, and now at a time of low unemployment, we are seeing that hard-to-serve populations are the only ones that we have funding to serve. We are a universal system, but in the future that may change. Are other countries facing similar experiences at a time of declining revenues for their systems? Thank you.
Merci pour votre question. La dernière question peut-être. Y en a-t-il en salle? Monsieur le Président sortant.
First of all, I'm thankful for three panelists. I don't think it is necessary to ask question. Generally, after presentation, we ask all audience, do you have any question? Do you have any comment about our presentation? We can say, if anybody asks a question, we need continue to ask a lot of things. The other side, anybody haven't got any comment, we can say everything is very, very clear. First of all, really our friends really explain all things very clearly. Everybody depend on time, a short period, everything really is very understandable for us. I think in all room, everybody knows our responsibility is really very high. Therefore, we know responsibilities, we know our homework. The important point, I think, we should insist, we should persist and persevere to handling our responsibility. Finally, really, I thankful our dear friends, our panelists. Thank you again. Thank you very much.
Merci au président sortant de cette intervention qui nous permet automatiquement de placer les choses dans leur contexte. Messieurs les panélistes intervenants de haut niveau ont suggéré, ont proposé interrogation, débat, échange et partage d'expérience. S'il n'y a plus de questions, donc je me remets à messieurs Kortbeck, monsieur Lanfonce et monsieur Giguère. À vous la parole, à vous d'intervenir par rapport aux questions qui vous ont interpellé. On commence par vous, monsieur Kortbeck. Super. Ah, il y a une question? Super. Bien, parce que j'ai dit à maintes reprises, est-ce qu'il y a des questions? Mais c'est toujours la même chose. Il y a quelqu'un qui s'invite à la dernière seconde. مرحبا بك في عالمي عالم المحبة والمودة والإخاء. تفضل.
شكرا جزيلا على المشاعر الطيبة.
مشاعر حب ومودة.
وعلى التقدير وعلى الإدارة الجيدة للجلسة. أنا اسمي بيت الله ولا أحمد الأسود، المدير العام للوكالة الوطنية لترقية تشغيل الشباب في الجمهورية الإسلامية الموريتانية. بعد ذي بدء أود أن أشكر المملكة المغربية وأن أتقدم بالتهنئة إلى أخي وصديقي العزيز بن خليل المدير العام والأمين العام على اختيار المغرب، وهو خيار موفق لرئاسة الأمسب. كما أتوجه بجزيل الشكر إلى الإخوة في تركيا على رئاستهم الماضية وما قدموا من جهد وعمل يذمن. كما أتقدم بالتهنئة كذلك إلى زملائي الذين تم اختيارهم كنواب للرئيس في المناطق في إفريقيا وآسيا وأوروبا وموبا. ويشرفني كذلك أن أشكر كل الإخوة الذين ساهموا في انتخاب موريتانيا. أشكر كذلك المتدخلين الثلاثة على العروض الشيقة التي قدموا. ولدي سؤال: نحن ندرك جيدا أن مشكلتنا اليوم في العالم هي البطالة. أنتم تعلمون أنه أكبر مشكلة تواجه الأمن والاستقرار في دول العالم سواء تلك المتقدمة أو تلك المتخلفة هي مشكلة البطالة وسبل القضاء عليها. ونحن كذلك نعيش عصر العولمة وندرك جيدا مستوى التداخل ما بين التطور التقني الهائل غير المحدود، حيث أصبح العالم قرية واحدة، وحيث أصبح الآلة تحل محل الإنسان في ظل هذا التوسع غير المحدود والتسارع غير المبرر للتطور العلمي. كيف يمكن أن نوفق بين دور الوكالات وقطاعات التشغيل العمومية وبين تسارع حلول الآلة محل الإنسان، خاصة إذا ما أدركنا من خلال العروض التي قدمتم أن هناك 5 مليار و500 مهددين بفقد وظائفهم؟ كيف سيكون مستقبل أولئك الذين سيولدون؟ ما هي الآمال والتطلعات للشباب القادم في هذه المعمورة؟ كيف يمكن أن نوفق بين التطور التقني والآلي وبين إشكالية محاربة البطالة والتنسيق ما بين مخرجات السوق ومتطلبات العمل؟ مرة أخرى أشكر المملكة المغربية وأهنيها، وأشكر الأخ على إدارته الجيدة للجلسة، وأشكر كل الإخوة على كرم الضيافة وحسن الاستقبال الذي عودتنا عليه المملكة المغربية وعلى جمال أرضها مراكش الحمراء. شكرا جزيلا.
شكرا على هذا التدخل. أنتم في قلبي وذكركم في فمي. Permettez-moi, Monsieur Kortebek, de faire juste 3 effets d'annonce pour que les choses soient claires. Je vous demande de garder vos casques avec vous pour les sessions parallèles qui suivent dans les autres salles. Les listes avec les participants sont affichées à gauche à l'entrée du couloir. La traduction en espagnol uniquement dans la salle royale concernant l'atelier 1 et dans l'atelier 4 à la salle Karam 1. D'autres informations viendront après la réponse aux questions. Messieurs, à vous.
I thank you, and I thank you for the questions and the interesting remarks, and also I thank my colleagues here, because I think that, yes, we were rather complementary, and that's important in this kind of discussion. And I agree that it is complicated, and it will be more complicated to measure the level of skills and the level of education of people. I think this is a very important issue for the future, and also to make the linkage to their work. And I think, and I dare agree with Fons Leroy, that new skills, that we have to go not only in the direction of technology, but also management of their own life, of their own situation. What will be very difficult, because a difficult point because, of course, they have to manage a situation on the labor market with temporary jobs, with partial jobs, and so on. And at the end, every human being wants to have some stability in life too. We have to think about this. And this leads me to the second point, and this is about which institution can have which role about this. And I know very well, of course, that the financement of the institutions, employment institutions, is a problem in some of the countries, but we have to think very clearly. And as we said, it is a political choice and will be a political choice in the future. And we have to cooperate, of course, with these commercial institutions and companies. That's very clear. But on the other hand, you only have the societal responsibility. And this societal responsibility is about the economy of your country, but it's also about providing decent work to people. So I think that we need you. And if I'm speaking from my position as ILO chair of the governing body, I think this is important. This is the message I can give you, that from the ILO, seen from the ILO, I think that you have to play a very important role in the future.
Merci, merci pour cette intervention, Monsieur Kortebek. Monsieur Giguère, des éléments d'appréciation par rapport aux questions posées?
Yes, thanks to all the comments, which are very valid and enriching for us. And I would like to agree with what Luc just said. And the paradox is that we are asking more, or we are saying employment services should be doing more in terms of being, for example, the Amazon nationally, and be able to connect everybody and everything, and at the same time having a strong presence on the ground where we need leaders, we need people to bring people together, and yet, as the US colleague said, resources may be diminishing, and so we need also to reinvent or develop new business models, and I think we have some pioneers in this assembly, which is great, like Vidyabi and the others. So we need to, more than ever, share those practices and make sure that everybody benefits. And maybe just to comment on what Suzanne said, yes, so the middle skilled workers is a rather heterogeneous group. So it will be very interesting to provide meaningful answers, because it brings together various, people in various situations, and yet we have those skills mismatch. We need to address those. And we need to make sure that those people make the best of their skills in order to get a better life, and make sure that, and by helping them, we will also help the low-skilled workers, even though additional work needs to be done with the low-skilled workers as well. So I'll stop here. Thank you.
Merci, merci, Monsieur Giguère. Monsieur Leroy?
Well, first of all, concerning the question of the 21st century skills, in my view, we should start with it within the education system and make sure that young people are acquiring the 21st century skills when they are growing up during their pathway in education. And of course, we should already invest today as public employment services or training providers and make sure that everyone who is in a guidance pathway or a pathway of training also acquires the 21st century skills today. For example, we introduced the 21st century skills generally in all our vocational trainings. It's not any longer, as pointed out in our long-term strategy, former President, it's not about quick activation, it's about sustainable activation. And 21st century skills is a way to provide sustainable activation. That's, for me, very important. The second point is we could discuss long about vision and roles of public employment services. What I didn't mention is leadership. And I agree with you, Camille, what you said in your speech. We should, as heads of public employment services, we should show leadership. We should not be afraid of the challenges to come. We should see them as opportunities, but build on our strengths and our common strengths. I'm sure we can provide answers
for every citizen in the future. Not only within the policy frameworks we are working in, but also to alter the policy frameworks, because we are working evidence-based on the labor market. We see the problems of the labor market. We know the gaps in policy frameworks. So it's also, for me, a sign of leadership is to show to the policymakers that there are some gaps in the policy frameworks. Evidence-based, not taking political position, but evidence-based, say where do certain frameworks don't fit with the problems we encounter every day on our work floor.
Merci, ladies and gentlemen. Merci beaucoup.